Hi, Amy. How you doing? Great job. Looks fantastic. I this is really good work, and I think that the way that it points to your rationale, I think is remarkable. So you've been thinking, and you're a thinker, and I think it's really apparent. And I have a couple of comments, but generally, I think the monogram is very successful. Now, one thing that is not specifically clear in your monogram is, did you create these letter forms? Or did you just adjust them? In your writing, it almost seems like you said, while developing my monogram, I want to keep it minimal. Wait, that's not what I wanted to talk about. Oh, letters and creating the design of each letter. This is one thing that I'm not getting. So you say in creating the design of each letter, I had to adjust the size from the largest to the smallest to fit perfectly from one inside of the other. So, and I get that, but I'm not understanding if you're saying, did you create these letter forms specifically for the monogram, or did you just adjust the scale, the size, and the oops, hold on one second. Sorry about that. I had left my dictation mic on and it was doing some weird things. It was adding words in here. So I don't know if you saw that, but that was weird. So, okay, sorry about that. So anyways, as I was saying, it's hard for me to tell whether you drew these letters by hand or you just adjusted them. So the one thing I want to mention is that it does encode security, absolutely. Each letter is nestled inside the last, kind of like those Russian dolls where the one and then the next one and then the next one. So each one has the additional layer of protection provided by the previous. So that's really an interesting thing. And I think encoding meaning, in terms of encoding meaning, I think it's very successful. In terms of execution and the visual demeanor of the mark itself, I think it's good. It's good because it works at small sizes, definitely. One thing I would recommend is this: there's one thing that's bugging me about the monogram, and it's the N, and it's specifically this area in the N and the width of the N. It seems like if we were to disassemble this work and put these letters next to each other, it seems like the N would be unproportionally wide compared to the other letter forms. And I think the reason is obvious, is to fit the S inside the N. So, and it's good consideration, very good consideration, but it just seems like this area right here is a little bit thin in relationship to the other areas of the stroke thickness, specifically the circular part of the G, the straight parts of the N, and a good portion of the curved parts of the S are much thicker than this area on the N right here. That in conjunction, so that the narrow top of the N, hang on one sec. Sorry about that. I just wanted to check one thing. I'm going to show you something with scale in a second. But anyways, I was talking about the scale and the relationship of the different areas of scale. This is called the shoulder. This curved part of the N is called the shoulder. And the shoulder of the N is really super thin when you compare it to the thickness of the G, the straight areas of the N and the areas of the S. So that would need to be that just is really super thin. And the other thing I think is that it seems like the N is a little bit difficult to decipher, and it's because of this area right here. I would try to reinforce that area of the N just to make sure that we know it's an N and maybe not to be misconstrued with something that's resembling an A. Okay, so that little serif, that little part right there, I think it'd be more well developed. So the shoulder, that area right there, and the width of the N. And if we take a look, let's just go ahead and back down. And don't look at this one, just let's concentrate on this one. And let's see, okay, so we get smaller, still working pretty well. I think this negative space right here added on the G where the N is really adds some visual interest. So that's pretty cool right there. So let's go ahead and keep going. Okay, now we can see that N is really starting to look super wide. I think at this I'm at 33%, which regardless, it doesn't matter. Would this be the size of a business card maybe? But even in a smaller situation, now we can start seeing that that N is no longer resembling an N. It could possibly be an A because it's so wide and it's so narrow up top, and plus that area right there, whoops, that area right there just is, I don't think it's strong enough to indicate N. Okay, so and I think you did a really good job in your decision. I think your decision to keep it one color is very smart. I think the decision to keep it minimal is very smart. I think it's a gorgeous mark. I just have a couple of those little considerations. You know, another solution could be the N is so wide because of the size of the S that's to fit inside the N. So you may consider even reducing the size of the S. The S is going to maintain its legibility, definitely. I mean, you can see the S is an S. It doesn't matter how small it gets. The S is still going to resemble an S. So you can take some liberties with that, the fact that that S is so recognizable by reducing the size a little bit, thereby allowing you to reduce the width of that N. And I think that would be a little bit more recognizable. All right, great job. If you've got any questions or comments, I'm really super pleased with the quality of the monogram. So great job. But any questions, comments, concerns, or if I can clarify any of my recommendations or comments, please let me know, and I will be more than glad to do so. All right, very good job, Amy. Thank you.